Hello everyone. So the next question that we are going to do is infix evaluation, right? Over there in this question, we will be given with string inputs, okay? And the allowed characters of this string are the digits from 0 to 9, the plus operator, minus operator, opening bracket and closing bracket. These are all characters that are available to us to form the input string, right? And what is our work? Our work is to evaluate this expression. A valid expression will be given to us. We need to evaluate this particular expression and provide the output of this expression. And the only constant is we won't be able to use the inbuilt functions that are designed in order to take string expressions as input and compute them. We cannot use those kind of functions, right? Now the problem statement obviously is quite simple over here. We need to evaluate the expressions. But the question is how? Suppose let us start with this example over here, which is a simple expression without any brackets, and then we will be moving to the other examples, right? Now, before going to the example, just visualize one thing, guys, that these are characters, right? You can see this number as a whole, these three numbers you can see as a whole, but these are individual characters. All of them are individual characters, right? Over here, these brackets, all of these are individual characters. We need to build the numbers as we are iterating through this particular expression. And the other observation is that the only allowed operators are this plus and minus. And in computer science, you know that they don't have a precedence, like they have a equal precedence, this plus and minus operator. No one is superior to the other. So we can just travel through the string from left to right, and whichever operator appears first, we will be dealing with that, right? Obviously, the expression can also start with a negative sign. So what I am understanding is that on the fly we will be building the numbers. Obviously from these individual characters 1 and 3 we will be making 13. That's one thing. And whenever we will be iterating, what are the things that we need? Suppose I would need to make this particular number. After that I need to keep an account of what the sign is, and also I need to keep track of what the second operand is. So for a plus or minus operator to happen, we must have two operands, right? These two operands, we need to keep track of them, and also I need to devise a strategy in order to understand that between the two operands that we are storing, what is the operation that is going to happen? Is it a addition operation or a subtraction operation, right? So let us talk about this number building first, okay? We need to talk about this one by one, so be patient. So what I am saying is, this 1 and 3, suppose this is the thing that is given to us, this is given to us as a string, and we need to form this number as a whole. So what I can do is, guys, basic computer operations, basic mathematical operations, we often do this in various questions. So I can take a variable num and I can assign it with 0. Then suppose this is the number, okay? So what I can do is, at every step I will do num into 10 plus the current digit, right? So this formula I can use in order to form this whole number from the individual digits. First this 1 will come, character 1 will come, I will convert that to digit 1. Then what I will do, I will check that it is a digit. So what I need to do, I need to multiply 10 with 0 and then add 1. So this will become 1. Now the value of num is 1. After that, what I need to do, as soon as the digit is 3, I need to multiply this 1 with 10 and add 3. This will become 13. After that, when my digit becomes 7, I multiply this with 10. This becomes 130 plus 7. So finally this value, this int value num, this will be storing 137, right? This is how we form the numbers. Pretty basic stuff, right? Now the next thing is, I will start forming the number from this 1 over here. Now I will use this num variable to form the number. Now I will keep iterating until and unless I am getting a digit. Now as soon as I get a non-digit character, which can be a plus, minus or the brackets, I am sure that my num variable is now holding the value which is prior to it. My entire number is stored in my number variable now, right? So basically these are the indicators that whenever any non-digit number comes, that is the indication that the number is formed. Now obviously for an operation to take place, there should be two numbers, right? So this first number that is formed, I should store it somewhere so that I can move ahead, take care of what the operation is, and then form the second operand, and then I will be able to add or subtract both of them, right? So basically a second variable will be needed. And the other thing I want you to notice is that you travel, and as soon as you reach this location, if this is the expression that is given to us, the expression that is given to us is 13 only. So my answer will be 13 only. So basically up till here, whatever is there, that is our answer only. So the next variable that I am talking about is answer, right? Because in a number variable I will be storing the number, then I will store this to answer, because up till here the answer is 13 only, which was formed in my number variable. After that, now this answer variable will have two things to hold. First thing is, I told you this 13 will be hold so that I can hold 7. Now you can tell that there are 3 numbers, right? You can tell that there are 3 numbers, then we will need 3 variables, 4 variables. No, you don't need so many, you will only need 2 only. Why? Because once you store this in a variable and you store this in a variable, you will evaluate this thing and it will become 20. Then the expression is basically 20 minus 6. One variable, which will be your answer, this will store that 20, and the other number variable will then form this second operand, which is 6, right? So this answer variable, this was not only holding the first input over here, the first number that is formed, but it will also hold the evaluated expression, so that becomes the first operand, right? This 20 will become the first operand in my second operation. So this 20 will be held in the answer second time. I hope this is clear, pretty normal stuff. After that, this sign thing, I want to talk about this sign thing, right? Guys, don't worry. Understand the concepts individually, I will make them fall in place. Don't worry about it. Now, how can we handle this plus sign? Now, what I told, I had two things over here. I talked about this num variable and this answer variable, right? Now, the initial values of these variables will be 0. After that, you will come to this point, you will iterate till this point, and basically will do this into 10 plus digit thing, and your num variable num will hold the value of 13 after that, right? After that, what I will do is, I will transfer this particular thing to answer. Now, how do I do this? Obviously, I will do answer plus equals to num, right? So this 0 will become 13. After that, I will again reinitialize my num to 0, because obviously I need to make a fresh number which will be the second operand, right? So I will make this 0 again, and after that again this num will hold the value of 7 once it iterate up till this over here. As soon as it finds a non-digit character, it will say that the second operand is 7, I have found it, right? So this 7 also I should add it to my answer. I will do answer plus equals to num, because I need to add this to my first operand, right? So basically what will happen, in my answer 20 is there. Now what if it was 13 minus 7? How could I have done it? What I am saying is, you can take one variable sign over here and initialize that to 1, because initially I am taking this 13 this value over here is positive value. So initially it was 1, right? Now after that, whenever I found a plus sign, I knew that in my num variable 13 was stored, right? And I stored that in my answer variable. Then I can, what I did was, I could have just changed the sign to -1 if it was a minus, but as it was a plus, I would have reassigned this to 1 only. If it is a plus, I will make it 1. If it is a minus, I will make it -1. Why? Because at the end of this over here, the num value was 7, and I need to either do 13 plus 7, or I needed to do 13 minus 7. What I am saying is, I will use this formula only. I will do answer plus equals to num only, and the value of num will either be plus 7 or minus 7. How can I do that? So what I can do is, I can multiply this num and sign. So either if it was positive, it will become 7 into plus 1, which will remain as 7. But if it was negative sign, then in my sign variable -1 would have been stored, and I would do num into sign, it would have become -7, and then I would do answer plus -7, which would result to doing 13 plus of -7. This would be 13 minus 7 only, right? So subtraction operation will happen. I hope this part is also clear, how we can handle this sign part, right? So now let me run through this whole operation, and you once, before moving to the next example, see how this first operation works, right? How we are running, like iterating through this, right? And I will maintain 3 variables, num, which will be initialized with 0, answer also initialized with 0, and sign which will be initialized with 1, right? Obviously in the starting of the expression only I can get a minus 13, and then what I need to do is, as soon as I see a minus sign, obviously I would say that in my number the previous value is stored. Obviously the previous value is nothing, that's why we stored 0 over here. So it will add 0 with answer, which is again a 0. So again this num will again reset to 0, but before that answer will become 0 plus 0, which is 0, right? And obviously the first sign that we came across is negative, so I can assign this with minus 1 then and there only, but initially we will store it with plus 1, because obviously if there is no negative sign it will start with a digit, so I should not make it minus 1. This is pretty simple stuff. So these are my initial values, right? Then I will start iterating. I am over here at 1. What will happen? My num variable will change to 1, right? My num will change to 1. After that I move to this 3 over here. My num will change to 13. Then I get a non-digit character. So what will happen is, I will do num into sign, which will become 13 into 1 in order to check if it was minus or not. If initially it was a minus, then in my sign variable minus 1 would have been there. Then when I will multiply 13 with minus 1, it will become minus 13, and then I will add minus 13 to my answer. So it would have become minus 13. As simple as that, right? So in our case, this was only plus only. So what we did, my answer became 13, right? And I will again set this to 0. Then obviously the character that I came across was a non-digit and it was a plus. So I would change my sign to 1. It was 1 only, I will change it to 1. Then we come across a 7. So obviously my num will become 7, right? Then this minus sign comes. As soon as the minus sign comes, what I will do, I will multiply num with sign. That my number is already made because I have encountered a non-digit character. So it will be 7 minus 1. So 7, I will add that to my answer. So my answer will become 20. So at this point over here, my answer is 20. And obviously, as the current character is a negative sign, I will put my sign value as minus 1, right? Then what will happen? I should make this as 0. Once I did the evaluation part, I should again reset this because a new number will be formed in this variable, right? Then this for this minus sign, I also put minus 1 over here. Then I come to this 6 over here. The value of my num becomes 6. Then as soon as this becomes 6 over here, and after that, what I will do, as this is the end of the expression, I should take the current num into account as well. So what I will do is, this will be 6 into minus 1. First I will do 6 into minus 1. This will become minus 6, and then I will add minus 6 to my answer. My answer was 20, I will do minus 6. This will become 14, and that is only our output. So this is kind of how we will proceed things. This is the basic one that we did. Now we will be building over this concept, right? Now after solving this first example, we are sure that we know how to evaluate simple expression. We will be able to do that using 3 variables, right? But what if brackets are there? Would it cause any problem? Let's find out. Suppose 4 plus 8, up till here it will do. 12 will be stored in my answer variable, and again my num variable will be reset to 0. This will be my situation. And for this negatives, I will assign my sign variable with minus 1. Up till here it is okay. Now the point is, can I ignore this bracket and just carry forward with our mechanism, and will we get the same result? The answer is no, guys. You have to take this as a special case, right? Because see, up till here, first initially it was 4 plus 8, which was 12. Then a minus came, then 3 minus 38 was there, right? So the answer would have been 47. But if you just carry forward, then what you will do? You will have 3 variables, right? Num, answer and sign. So in your sign variable, minus 1 is there because of the negative sign. Then after this, when this negative sign comes, num will store this 3 value, and in my answer 12 was there. So you will do basically 3 into minus 1. It will become minus 3. Then you will add it to your answer. So this will become 9. Answer will become 9, right? After that you have a negative sign, so you again set this to minus 1. Then you will make 38. So your num value, it will become 38, right? Then what you will do, 38 into minus 1, it will become 38, and then you will add this to answer. So your answer will become minus 29, but your answer should have been 47, right? Because this negative sign acted in a wrong way. This negative sign only acted as if it was a negative 3 after this. Actually 35 should have been added, but due to this negative sign we are doing minus 38, also minus 3 with the whole expression. But actually we should have added 35 because of the whole thing over here, right? So I am sure that normal thing will not work in this bracket, so I need to devise something else, right? So what I am telling you is, guys, this is a normal expression and this is also a normal expression inside the bracket, and we know how to solve normal expressions. So what I can do is I can compute this particular part which is before the brackets, and after that I can store it somewhere. Maybe you can think of a variable. Okay, you can take another variable I will take in order to store. In case of brackets, if a bracket comes, then whatever the result was earlier to this, I will store that in a variable and I will move ahead, and then I will go inside and I will evaluate this whole thing. And now this whole thing, again my answer will hold this thing, because again whatever the answer was, I stored it in some other variable. Now I started fresh evaluation from here, and after the end of this evaluation, my answer variable will store this value over here, and the first operand was also here stored in a different variable, and we also know the minus sign was there. I will use the sign variable, right? Suppose I will use a different sign variable as well for this, maybe I am telling. So if I have the track of three things, then I can again evaluate this. This process is fine and it will work for this. Again you take two extra variables, this will work if there are only one level of brackets, guys, because as soon as the next level of bracket comes, this process will also fail, because at this point also you will need to keep track of this value. You kept track of whatever the earlier value was, you will need to keep track of this value inside the first bracket over here, and then you need to again evaluate this, and you don't know how many levels are possible. There is no restriction to the number of levels, right? So like that you won't be knowing that how many levels are over here, as simple as that, right? So we need to devise a strategy for this. Now what I am telling you is that, guys, suppose look at this particular example over here, right? Over here initially what happened, I am taking three portions. Okay, I am taking three portions. One portion is up till here, then the next portion is still here, and the rest of it. Okay, now up till this point the answer was what? 4. Then we evaluated this portion over here, the answer became what? The answer became 12 over here. After that we evaluated the rest of this portion and the answer became what? -5 over here, right? After that what will we do? We will keep track of this operator over here, and we will add this -5 to this 12, or if it was minus we would add +5 to this 12, whatever it is. We will do this. After that we will do this, right? So this was the first value that I took care of, and this was the last value that I took care of. But while merging, this is the first value that I am taking. This was the last to enter, last to be recorded, and the first to be taken out, right? So kind of a stack will be used in order to store these results out here, because we don't know in how many level the results will be stored. So each result we can put it in stack, and then we can go and evaluate the inner portion, and once we come out, the remaining portion will be stored in a stack along with the sign. This sign also we can store, right? So whenever we are, for example, when we are evaluating this, what we will do is we will do 4 plus 8, that we know how to do. It will become 12, and this minus sign, both this thing I will push it in the stack. So in my stack there are two things, 12 and -1, an integer stack, right? So we will push these two things, and then I will move inside, I will evaluate this. After evaluating this, I found that it is -35. Then and in my stack it is -1 and 12, right? So what we will do, we will multiply this -35 with -1 in order to know what should be added with this 12 over here. So -35 into -1 will give me 35. With that I will do again, I will do stack dot pop. The last variable was 12, so I will take this out and I will do 35 plus 12, which will become 47. That will be our answer. So we will use a stack. In this case over here, first what will happen, up till here we will evaluate and it will be 4. Then we will push this 4 and the plus symbol in the stack. Then we will evaluate this portion. I will evaluate this to be 12, and this is also a plus sign over here. So basically we will store this. Then we will move ahead in order to evaluate this, and then I will multiply it with either the +1 or the -1 that is present, and then I will add it to 12. In this manner, using a stack, whenever there is a bracket, you can store the content of the result as well as the sign after which the bracket is starting, right? So that's it, guys. This is what we are gonna do. Let me just give you a dry run of what we will do over here in this example, and then we will move to coding part. We have our num, answer and sign along with their default values, which are 0, 0 and 1, right? After that we start iterating, we come to this 4, the value of num becomes 4, then we get a plus symbol. So what happens, we multiply num with sign, right? So 4 into 1 is 1 and we add that to the answer, answer becomes 4, and then we reset this num, and we are at a plus sign, so we again make this sign value as 1, right? Then we move to this 8 over here, my num value becomes 8. Then we have a minus sign. Now as soon as we have a minus sign, we know that the num value is a proper number, so we will first multiply num with sign, it is 8 into 1 which is 8, I will add that to my answer, so my answer will become 12. Then this I will reset this. Now I am at a negative sign now, then what I should do is I should manipulate my sign to minus 1. Then I move ahead, now I see a opening bracket, right? This is the new case. So as soon as we see a opening bracket, I will push two things in my stack. First I will push my answer, which is 12, then I will push the sign, which is minus 1, right? I have pushed this in my stack. Then what I will do, I will reset all these things. Now after resetting, we will move inside, I find a 3, my num will become 3. After that I find a minus sign, so what will happen, I know that in my num a variable is stored, so I will multiply num with sign, which will be 3 into 1 3, and I will add that to my answer and I will reset my num, and then I will change the sign variable to minus 1 because I am standing on a negative. Then I will come to this 3, so my num will become 3, and then I will come to this 8, so my num will become 38. After that, now I move forward and I find a closing bracket. Now obviously this is a non-digit first, right? Then we look at if it is a plus or minus or an opening bracket or a closing bracket. First we know that okay, it is a non-digit character. So as soon as I got a non-digit character, I need to evaluate the thing. I will multiply num with sign, 38 into minus 1 will become minus 38, and I will add minus 38 to my answer, so it will become minus 35. 3 plus of minus 38, it will become minus 35. Now this calculation we will complete because this was a non-digit character, right? Then we will look specifically what that character was. Now this was a closing bracket. So as this is the closing bracket, what decision should I take? I will add this answer with whatever the answer was previously stored. So with this answer, the sign of this answer, whatever the sign was there before the bracket, that is stored over here in this stack, right? So I will multiply this with first stack dot pop and it will become 35, and with the second stack dot pop I will add it. So this is what I do when I get a closing bracket. You can apply the same thing over here. The video will be unnecessarily lengthy. You can sit over it and do the same thing and watch for yourself if it is working or not. I will also write the code, right? First I will start with taking the length of this string, right? Then I will make my 3 variables that I need, which are your answer, which will be initialized with 0. Then we have current number, which is num for example, which is 0, and we have this sign variable which will be initialized with 1. And also we will make the stack where we will store the number as well as the sign before the brackets as soon as we get a opening bracket. So it will store what? Integer. Basically we will store the sign in form of +1 or -1 only, right? Equals to new stack After this we will start iterating through the loop. So for int I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, right? Now guys, whenever we get a digit, we kind of evaluate the whole number. Whenever guys we find a digit, we know that the whole thing will be a number. Like if it is a multi-digit number, then the digits will be present in the consecutive characters only. So what I will do is, whenever I come across a digit, I will try to form the whole number in one burst, right? So basically what I am saying is, if I get a digit, I will form the whole number in that iteration only. Okay. So if this s dot character at I is a digit, I want to check if the current character is a digit. So what I should do is s dot charity is greater than equals to 48, which is the ASCII code of 0, and if it is less than equals to 57, then I know that the current character is a digit. the number will be present as a whole. So while this condition will be true, I will be doing certain things. While this whole condition will be true, we will be doing certain operations. What are those operations? I will form this variable num over here. This num should be forming the numbers as we come across the digits. So what I do is, I will extract the digit. Suppose int digit equals to s dot char at I minus of 48. This is what we should do, because if the character is 0, for example, then s dot char at when it is converted to int, because we are doing a mathematical expression, and in Java the variable type char can be promoted to int. So basically it will be auto promoted to int, and the value will be 48, and it will this digit will store basically 48 minus 48, which is 0. So if the character 0 appears, its ASCII code will be 48, and we will get the value 0 in my digit, right? So this is why we are subtracting with 48. If it is 1, then the ASCII value will be 49. So 49 minus 48 will be giving me 1, which will be stored in this digit. Once the digit is formed, I should do num equals to num into 10 plus the digit, right? This is how we form the number. And after that, what I will do is, I will just make my I plus plus over here only. Why? Because I want to form the whole number over here only, in between this while, right? And obviously guys, there is a possibility that we are at the last number over here, which is the 6. So if this 6 is formed, then I do I plus plus, it will obviously go out of range. So I need to check that also over here, that my I should be less than n, right? This condition I will append over here as well, along with the condition of checking if that is a digit or not. So while explaining, I was referring to this only, that if the current character is a digit character, then only we are doing all the things, and if it is a non-digit character, this while loop will fail, and we will put the content of this num in our answer, right? So that is what we will do. And one important thing is guys, after these two things over here, I am doing I plus plus at the end. So after this, whenever it checks again, maybe this condition is not matched any one of these, and that is a separate character which had to be handled in a separate way. So that we should not mess up, because already we are moving ahead and we are going to one extra space. So basically we will stop whenever our number will be over, we will stop, and after coming out I should do a I minus minus. This is what I am telling, because the current character that is not processed, that will be processed, and for that, if it is a plus sign, sign will be set to 1, otherwise it will be set to -1. If it is a opening bracket, I will put stuff in my stack, we'll do all those things, right? So for that I need to do this I minus minus. I hope this is clear, right? After that, I am sure that this while loop, after the end of this while loop, my number is formed and I have came across a non-digit character. So now that for processing that non-digit character, I have done my I minus minus, but now after the whole number is formed, I should add that to my answer. But before adding, I should multiply that with sign. So what I am saying is, I will add what to answer? Answer plus equals to the number that is formed multiplied by the sign, so that the correct sign is also taken, either the plus or minus, right? So this is what we do, and after that I should also put my num to 0. Num should be reset. Obviously we will not do anything with sign, because sign will be taken care of separately, right? So I will just reset my num. So once I find a digit, what I am doing, I am forming the entire number and I am storing it, adding it to the answer along with the sign, right? Now one thing I want to do is, I should take a character variable over here, so that every time I don't need to write s.character. Over here guys, one thing, if you are taking this ch, I am taking this for all the else if conditions, but if you are using this ch, be careful that after every iteration this ch should change, right? I am taking this s.character, this will give me the character at that iteration, but if you use ch, that might give you an error, because ch will be stuck with whatever the character was at I when you started, right? So it will be basically s.character I, I'm just storing this, right? So in the next conditions, what else should, if it is not a number, what else are the conditions? Else if the character ch is equals to a plus sign, then it is quite simple. What we do is, we assign the value of sign to 1, right? Else if my character is a negative sign, then what we do? We just change the sign symbol to -1. That is what we do. Else if your character is a opening bracket, then what do? We push the current answer and then we push the current sign to our stack, right? So this is the first things that we do. We push answer and we push the sign as well, right? And also after that we reset both these things. Answer should be 0 and my sign should also be reset to 0, right? Sorry, 1. Sign should also be reset, because guys see, I am storing this sign over here in my stack only. After that, in order to start evaluating the whole expression inside the brackets, what I should do is I should start what was the in initial case, this expression and this expression, what is the difference, right? I should initialize everything to the default value only. So that's why I should also make this sign as 1, right? So this is what we do precisely. Then we will move inside and we will find a digit, then this whole thing will happen, right? Then a plus or minus will come and then again this answer thing will come. But after that we might get a closing symbol as well, right? In that case, whatever the value was there inside my brackets, that have been calculated and stored in the answer variable, and in my stack the value before the brackets are also stored, and along with the sign. And we have pushed this answer first and then the sign. So at the top the sign is there. So basically, see, over here -35 will be stored. Then we should first do what? -35 into -1. That we should do first. So in my new answer, what I would do is I need to multiply that with the first pop operation, right? Because in the first, if we do the pop first time, the sign will come. So with my answer, whatever the answer is, I need to add the rest of the things which was outside. So answer equals to answer into stack.pop. I take the sign, along with that I add it to the previous answer which was stored in the stack only. I'll pop it again and then the previous answer will also come. So this I need to do whenever I get a closing bracket. And that is pretty much it. I am not writing a else over here because guys, a space is also an allowed character. So basically I was ignoring that. Whenever a space come, it will be just ignored because I am not writing any test case for it, right? So after this whole thing, I will just return this, return answer. Whatever will be my answer, that will be the whole evaluated value of the expression. Is dot length, okay, with the brackets. Cool guys, accepted. And it will not beat 100% because there are some competitive coding approaches that are there, right? But yeah, okay, it should beat more than this. It should beat around 90%, but yeah, this is the most logically fit solution, right? This sometimes it depends upon a lot of factors, guys. So that's it guys for this video, and I hope it is clear. It was a little bit of a heavier side on the implementation side, but the question statement was quite simple, and we just had to figure out what was required in order to just iterate through the string and store them. And we are obviously doing it in order of n time complexity because obviously we are iterating through it once, and very little space, you can tell order of n space, but it will never go till order of n, right? Cool guys, thank you.